Danny, you look good.
Happy Tuesday, America. If it's Tuesday evening, it must be the Idle Zone Syndicate. Mr. Producer Crank and I, as always, out here on the edge of civilization.
Way out west.
Way, way out west in central Kansas. Kyle Kister right on the border, and John south of the border.
Yep.
What's up, guys?
I'm on the other side of the wall.
I've been like a lizard, man. Just windows down in the car, just
Oh yeah.
looking it up, baby.
Drove around with the window down today. It
Nice.
was nice. Repaired a sprinkler head.
Spring is on the horizon, and I
Yeah.
like it.
It's awesome. I hope it stays, and I hope it stays. I'm just getting to feeling better, and my voice is actually. I may try to talk some tonight because I think it helps a little bit to actually talk.
Yeah, get them vocal cords lubricated a little bit.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So
You guys,
what else?
you guys still got some white stuff out there in Salina and 10 hours east or west of us, Danny?
Actually, the last little bit in the front yard, the drifts, finally melted today.
Outstanding.
Yep.
So, yay!
Mhm.
Hey, so your lakes are your lakes frozen though? You said something about ice today.
Oh, I was talking just anything around here. The ponds and stuff are all got ice on them.
They're still frozen.
Yeah.
Grand's good and thawed now, John?
Grand looks good.
Sweet.
I mean, I didn't drive down by the boat ramp, but I haven't seen any ice anywhere else. So
About 3 billion dead shad floating in the water.
I heard that. I haven't seen any. But
I saw a really cool video of like a trillion pelicans and a whole bunch of seagulls attacking them out in front of the islands there in Bernice, having a heyday.
I wonder if it's further down that way because I'm not seeing that up here.
Could be, I don't know. We've got a couple of guys in the backdrop that might be able to tell us a little bit about shad kill.
Yeah. I don't know. Are you fishing down here this weekend?
Yes, looking forward to it. Finally starting to see some sunrise. Yeah, future bass on Sunday.
I might try to get out. Thursday, maybe. Get everything done around here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you fishing big? You're not fishing Big Hill, are you?
No, probably going to have to miss that one.
How's the ice up there? Is it all gone? Have you heard? Do you know? I mean, what do you think?
By Friday, it should be. I mean, there's the ponds and the pits and stuff, they're starting to look kind of slushy. So some of the flatter ponds are probably a little bit thawed now. Most of the pits, that have the real high sides and the timber on each side, it'd take them a while to thaw out. But I imagine the lake's probably, it'll be cleared up by Friday, I bet, if it's not already.
Yeah.
So,
well, Yeah, I'm ready for tournament season. We're gonna have a full house this weekend. I think a few guys fishing future bass, what you're fishing, and I think some guys practicing for the MLF college the following weekend.
Yeah.
I know Drury bass team's got 6 rooms practicing, so they'll be here this weekend practicing and also next weekend. So Justin Allen's asking about team tournaments. That Future Bass is a team tournament, and that's this weekend on Grand. I'm talking about Grand Lake. I was talking about what I'm going to be fishing ABA on Big Hill Saturday. That should be interesting. And that's about all I know around here. Real quick, we had the first elite was this weekend or last week, and congrats to Bill Lowen.
Yeah, very much so.
Like to see Bill doing well.
Good dude.
It was a good tournament to watch. A lot of different things going on. Really cool.
Yeah, there was some diverse fishing. I thought it was really awesome.
Yep. And I'm sure you've seen it. There was a DQ, a guy that was actually on the show, Matt Herron. I'll just say this. You cannot. You mentioned the poster earlier off screen, Mr. Slick Johnson. I will tell you this: unless you're in the room where the DQ happened, you don't know. Take it from me, you don't know what. They tell you what rule is violated, but there are so many things within a given rule that it could be, and it could be, a minor, simple mistake. It could be something that was done on purpose. You don't know.
Yeah.
And until that comes out, and Matt gives his side of the story, and maybe we can hear from Bass on exactly why the ruling happened the way it was. You just don't know. So,
Mhm.
not
Agreed.
really going to comment much more on that. I don't know whether it was based on the polygraph. They mentioned that it was based on a polygraph, but after a polygraph happens, then did the angler admit to something? Did he not? Did they just take the polygraphs for what it was and go from there, or did they not? Nobody knows. So, including Slick Johnson. I know he thinks he knows everything in the world, but he doesn't. In fact, he probably knows less than any of you on this screen. So leave that at that. That's about as deep in the woods on that one as we'll get.
Well, let's do something fun.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about somebody fun,
Let's do it.
like a
Yes.
breakdancer or something.
Let's, you guys kind of lean on me a lot to bring our special guests in, but
Well, you're good at it.
it's hard this go around because there's 2 of them, and there's actually a third that's not on screen tonight. Maybe, hint, maybe we can get him on at some point. That would be awesome. He can talk a little smack about his dad and his brother, but they're from South Carolina. If you're anywhere around Lake Hartwell and you're in the tournament with them, you better look out, because statistically, things are in their favor. Marty's a 3-time Classic qualifier, 2020 Toyota Series champion. a 2021 Summit Cup champ on Lake Murray. His son Marshall is from Landrum, South Carolina. He's a 2024 Summit Cup co-champion with Drew Gill. He was a Tackle Warehouse Invitational Pro, and he ranked 8th, which I thought was really awesome. And he fished his way up through the ranks. And I'm really excited to talk to both of them about what is in the water in South Carolina. Maybe they could take a sample of it and send it to us. Maybe we could all drink it at the same time and cheers one another. I don't know. But they're a couple of hammers. So without further ado, Marty and Marshall, howdy fellas.
Welcome.
What's up, guys? What's happening out west?
Way out west.
Way out west.
Things are heating up, man.
That's good. Yeah, I think looks like things are starting to heat up everywhere. It's the frogs are out there growling tonight, and it seems like spring's just around the corner, and I'm sure some good bass fishing's on the way.
Yeah.
It's funny that you brought up the frogs because I was going to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because we here at the lodge, we have this little bitty pond. And 2 days ago, it was froze over. And tonight, we have one of them dang frogs chirping.
Yeah.
And I told Val, I said, do you hear that dang frog? We didn't even get a break. Because it gets loud. Like those of you that have stayed here in the spring, it is loud. And I was like, what?
That's just one of the few little signs of spring and big fish being caught. You start to hear them frogs at night. You see them little, around here, you got them little yellow daffodils start opening up. And that pretty much tells you that pre-spawn has arrived. And it's usually, it's prime time bass fishing where we are. I would say the next 3 weeks where we live, in this area of South Carolina is probably the best 3 weeks of the whole year to bass fish.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What lake catches fire first?
Oh,
Probably starts in the lower state and works its way up.
yeah.
You probably seen the weights at Santee. Did y'all see that?
Yeah.
So that's it's starting. It's starting now, really. But it's gonna work its way up, and pretty much the next lake is Murray, and we got it coming up like a week and a half. So I think we're gonna hit it right.
Yeah, there was actually a tournament at Santee this past weekend. What was that?
It was the BFL.
Yeah, BFL, and Big Fish was a 13-6. 13-6.
Good night.
I think the winning stringer was
first place was 35 and some odd ounces. So dude had a 13-6, had 4 fish for 26, and he still needed a 10-pounder to win the tournament.
Oh my goodness.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. That tells you it's started,
Yeah.
He those tournaments out there, Santee's pretty decent size. They get fair amount of boats. The BFLs, they draw more than a couple hundred. Or
I think the one this week had 66 or 70, somewhere in there. And I'm not sure what like Lake Hartwell usually draws because I haven't fished any.
Hartwell's usually probably around 130.
Okay, so
maybe even more than that, depending on what time of the year. But the thing about Santee, it's come a long way. It's got some grass back in it now, and you got some of the guys, local DNR agencies and stuff. That's kind of a lot of the older guys. I talked to a couple of the younger guys when we was down there last year in a Toyota event
in the fall.
And a couple of young kids that worked with state agencies down there, and they was kind of surveying the grass and everything. And I was asking them if they plan to spray it, you know, this, that, and the other. And they was avid duck hunters and fishermen, and they said a lot of the older hands had retired that really was critical on spraying any grass that came up in the lake. And he said that now they're trying to keep an equal balance, you know, trying to please the homeowners but keep some of the grass. So I think they really got some good guys down there that hunt and fish and actually know what grass does for the lake. That's kind of going to manage it rather than just wipe it out, you know.
Is that kind of the same struggle that is going on in Florida a little bit too?
I'm sure it goes on. It's pretty much the struggle anywhere you go with a lake, a body of water that has grass. You know, obviously the homeowners don't care for it, and the fishermen love it. And it's a fine line, you know. I mean, I see everybody's side, but you know, it's always good to have guys that kind of want to, you know, take both opinions and kind of try to please both groups of people, you know.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
So you guys, you know, fill us in on some of the springtime stuff that you guys, do you guys get, I mean, you guys get to fish much around the house, or is it just hit the ground running? I mean, obviously you both have already fished twice, right, on the pro tour?
Yeah.
So what time's your guys' when's your guys' prep start?
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we're pretty much in full swing now. We had the first one. I mean, I think it was late January. Then we had this one that we just had at Harris Chain mid-February. And then, we got Murray first week of March, and then got Red Crest first week of April. I think Heavy Hitters is somewhere in there. So pretty much we're wide open. So, you know, whatever time we get that we can take advantage of, we'll fish around here, because obviously, like you said, it's full swing. You want to be fishing right now.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to fun fish local tournaments, whatever, just trying to get out there. But this is obviously one of the most busiest times of the year.
Yeah. Bad thing is we can't fish Hartwell or Murray because we're fishing a BPT at Murray, and we got a tackle warehouse after that at Hartwell. So we're kind of limited to where we can go.
Kind of we're in the off limits. So
yeah.
I see.
So we still got Clark Hill and Russell and a couple other little lakes around here.
Yeah.
Hartwell, a couple hours from the house.
It's an hour and 10.
It was hard to judge on Google Earth Pro when I was looking earlier today. It's kind of hard to judge. I was trying to see where all your guys' little lakes were, and Hartwell is not little by any means.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
I kind of scoped it out like I would normally, you know, Grand or anything else where you draw the lake down and try to check out cool stuff, and I didn't even get one creek.
Yeah. It's sprawly. Our lakes around here, and it's one thing I like because it spreads the boats out.
Yeah.
But like even on a lake like Kiowee, which is the one above Hartwell, you know, the surface acres, it's nothing crazy. It's like it might be 18 or 20,000, but the shoreline is ridiculous because it's all jagged in and out, pockets, creeks. You know, the whole thing's fishable too. So they fish big, and like you said, it's hard it can be overwhelming for a guy coming from out of town. You look at that, break it down.
Well, what's South Carolina? What's the part of the state that you guys live in, that northern, southern South Carolina? What's it look like? What's the terrain like? I mean,
It's
mountainous where we live.
we live actually at the foothills of the mountains. So we're kind of right there where it changes from a mountain area to a more of a flat land. If you've ever been to, I don't know if any of you guys ever been to South Carolina much. I know John has, but it's kind of, you know, I was trying to think if it's kind of like Grand. It may be somewhat similar to, you know, some
Maybe
area around Grand Lake.
nice. It's not like crazy drive through Arkansas, is it?
No, it's I mean, we got hills, but we got flatlands too. And you go an hour south or 2 hours south, you got real flat country because we're only about 4 hours from the coast. So, you get around Santee and them, kind of gets a little harder to find a hill down there. But
Gets a little swampy.
But yeah, we can be in the mountains. I mean, we can be at the beach in 4 hours. We can be snow skiing in 2.5.
Wow.
In the mountains of North Carolina, Tennessee. So we got a good bit. I think we live in a fairly good area. You got a little bit of everything.
We got a bunch of lakes. There's probably 10 really good lakes around here within within reasonable driving distance where you can wake up in the morning and go fishing. We got Clark Hill, Murray, Russell, Kiwi, Watery, Greenwood, Santee, whatever, Lanier, Wiley, Norman, bunch of them. Those are all within 2 hours, except I think Santee is 2.5, 240. But all those are close,
Wow.
A lot of diverse stuff. You can go one way, like you said, and be up in the mountains, 20-foot visibility and fishing spots and smallmouth, or you can turn around and go to Santee and be fishing for 35, 40-pound bag of largemouth right off, not far from the coast. So
Flipping cypress.
yeah, you could be punching. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
It's cool.
say South Carolina is one of the more diverse states.
Yeah.
Like you said, everything from down at Georgetown and on Cooper River
Mm-hmm.
and all that. It's tidal waters to Hartwell type lakes. So,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, very diverse.
Interesting.
What's your favorite out of those?
Dude, I'd say my favorite. I'd say my favorite probably Santee, just because of the sheer quality. You go down there and know you have a shot at a 13, 12, 13, 14, maybe even 14. Heck, I don't know. Possibilities down there. So
I'm probably more of a spotted. I love to catch them old spots. We're surrounded by some great spotted bass fisheries, and John spent a lot of time around Lake Hartwell area. He knows all about that. And probably my home lake, or what I would consider my home lake, is above Lake Hartwell. It's Lake Kiowee, and it's about an hour from here. But probably one of my favorite places to fish is a lake above Kiowee, Lake Jocassee, and it's really deep, really clear, and has some really big spotted bass. And my youngest son actually caught a 762 over there last year. So close to the state record. I think state record was 806. So it was
Spotted bass.
A spot?
yeah.
Spotted bass.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Oh, football.
Yeah.
It's the type look deformed, if you turn them sideways, they look like they ate a basketball or football.
Like them California spots.
Yeah, it's what it
Bullard's
looks
bar
like.
spot.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you mentioned it. Let's talk a little bit about tournament, like breaking it down. Do you guys work together? Father-son duo? When you get
No, he don't tell me nothing.
I was going to say, when you get to a certain point, do you cut him off?
No.
I
I tell him everything. He don't tell me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, it's good. Usually you go to a tournament, you going to room with your buddies or, somebody you close to, but that don't mean they're going to tell you the whole truth. And so it's good to know that when we go to a tournament, obviously in the Bass Pro Tour, to be honest, we have a rule that's, it's in place where we can't talk specifics. So really in that we can't discuss, but like a Toyota series, something like that, it is good to know that whatever's said in the house, like you can take that and know it's the truth. You can run with it. You ain't got to be scared about somebody lying to you.
Yeah.
So so in the BPT, even
you can talk, and you can talk, share patterns and stuff. Just there's some rules in there on specific areas, like you can't share waypoints.
Yeah.
I couldn't give him a waypoint, or he couldn't give me a waypoint, but he could say, I'm catching them on points around 20 foot deep on jigs or something like that, which
Tell you what point.
yeah,
Right.
I understand that. I mean, it makes sense. I think, it just keeps some of the networking down, but it works out good. We share all the information we can and try to help each other out as much as we can.
And then, how do you break down a lake? So a Toyota series where you can share, do you split up and take different sections, or how do you do it?
Well, usually, when all three of us are fishing, most of the time we don't really break up on purpose. But all three of us fish, different in some sort of way. So a lot of times we're all doing something different at the same time, and you're going to know what's working and what's not after the first day of practice. So if somebody does figure something out, the deal, or you know what they're catching them on. And it does help. You can cover like say the St. Lawrence River, when it's just area, just area based, the baits, you're just trying to find the area. It makes stuff like that easier.
Yeah.
Who's generally the first one to start sending the others pictures of the scale weight?
That'd be my youngest one.
Yeah.
That'd definitely be Mitchell.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll have 20 pounds by 8 o'clock. You'll be hearing about it.
Yeah. You'll see the scales. He's weighed every one, and I'm old school, probably like a lot of y'all. Dude, I just, I don't take the time to weigh them half the time. Even if I catch a big one, I look at it. I may take a picture if I can, just because my wife wants something for social media, and but I usually chunk them back. I don't, and then I get home and they're like, look, this is what my best 5 weighed right here on the Bubba scales. And I'm like, I didn't weigh mine, Plus it allows me to, I win a lot because of that too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Stretch it.
Absolutely.
I let them tell me what they had, and I had, about a half a pound bigger.
Yeah.
Smart. That's an old wise man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I've probably weighed more of your fish, Marshall, than I have your dad's. In fact, there's no probably about it. I know I have weighed more of your and Mitchell's fish than Marty's, because I didn't weigh the fish much on the elites.
Right.
Couple times.
Yeah, I think you was probably weighing them when my youngest won the national championship.
I was. Yeah.
That was a big day for both of them. Marshall just had won the Rookie of the Year in the Taco Warehouse, and then we came down to Hartwell and watched Mitchell win the national championship on the high school series.
Yeah, that was quite the weekend.
That was a good week for us.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Drinking that South Carolina water, and I don't think it's Aquafina either.
No, man, it's that old.
It's that great value.
Great value.
Good old great value.
Man, Aquafina Dasani tastes funky to me, man. He threw a bottle of it, or a case of it in him and Casey.
We're not gonna get no deals from Aquafina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't worried about that. He threw a case in the buggy. I was like, man, I said I ain't drinking that stuff. We got to get that great value. It's got that fun. It's got that chlorine taste.
Keeps everything cleared out.
Yeah.
Whitens your teeth while you're drinking it.
Yeah. We got a well water around here, so he's used to that good tasting water. Yeah. Oh yeah. But
DB?
You guys are you traveling together? I mean, rooming together, staying together at everything?
yeah, we traveled together. Last year, when Marshall made the tour, me and Casey Ashley and Jonathan Van Dam, we traveled together. Me and Casey Ashley's traveled together since we made the Elite Series in 2006 or 7, whenever that was. So we've been together for probably 17, 18 years. And then we picked up Jonathan when he started fishing, and then Johnny kind of changed a little bit up last year. His dad's kind of been pushing him to run that. They got a big sporting goods outfit up in Kalamazoo, and I think his dad's getting ready to retire, and he's needing somebody to run that store, and that's a huge store. And so Johnny decided to maybe just fish some opens this year and not fish the tour. So, but Marshall started traveling with us last year. Kevin retired the year before Marshall started, so Marshall just kind of stepped in Kevin's place, and then it was me and Casey and Johnny and Marshall, and then now it's just me, Casey, and Johnny. But yeah, we travel together.
You guys Airbnb guys, or do you camp? What do you do?
Yeah,
Airbnb most of the time.
Yeah, we are.
Unless we know, sometimes you'll know a buddy, but we just get us a house, rent it for the week. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you come back and square everything away and
do some experimental cooking. That's what him and Casey like getting into that.
They're still experimenting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
When it tastes like crap, it was an experiment, and when it tastes good, that was a planned deal.
That's right. Yeah, that's what they'll say.
So are they the cooks?
Yeah, they'll cook, and then I've been slacking here recently, but they'll usually cook, and then I'll clean it up.
Huh?
We'll make it do something.
That's another the old wise man.
Yeah.
Because I do that same thing around here. I cook so I don't have to clean.
Yeah.
We make mess so they can clean it up.
That's right. That's
Yes,
right. Sir. So what's it like, Marty, having your son on the BPT tour with you?
It was really exciting for me to get to travel with him and practice with him and fish with him, because I actually captained him in high school. He started fishing first on the high school series, so I captained him and his partner for 4 or 5 years in high school, middle school and high school, and then my youngest son started fishing, when Marshall was still a senior. So his partner's dad actually captained Mitchell, and which I think I would say it probably helped Mitchell more than anything, because the guy that captained him didn't know a lot about bass fishing. So Mitchell didn't really have nobody to lean on. He didn't have a crutch, and him and that guy had to work together in what they thought the fish was doing. So he couldn't fall back on me or ask me every little single thing. And his fishing improved tremendously over his high school years just because of that. And which I would have loved to captain him, and I did when I got a chance in different tournaments and stuff. But it's great to get to travel with him, and Mitchell's fishing the Tackle Warehouse tour, trying to make the BPTs, and it'd be great if I can hang around another year or so until he gets there. It's getting harder and harder every year. They may cut to 20 next year. I don't know, but hopefully, this past year he fished Tackle Warehouse for the first year, and I think he finished 20 something.
He finished. He might have been in the top 20.
Somewhere around 20th in points. So I thought he had a decent year for his first year, and
Absolutely.
And so hopefully this year, I'd love to see him. He got off to a good start at Kissimmee, got him a top 20, and I'd love to see him qualify. There's been brothers, Bobby and Chris, and they've been father and son, Alton and Little Alton, but I don't know if there's ever been a father and 2 sons, so that'd be pretty neat.
I made a list. I didn't do much at work today. I'm sure my boss ain't watching anyhow, but I was trying to. You got Guido, Dion, and Lawson, Hibdons.
Yeah.
Roland Scott and upcoming Hillary.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like you said, something's in the water.
Yeah. Yeah. The Hibden family, that was a great family. You know, a lot of history with them guys, a lot of success there. Yeah, we hope to love to be traveling together, you know, one of these days. And maybe you can have a good year this coming year.
We got him a good start. That's the main thing, getting a good start.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be awesome. I mean, out of all those people Kyle mentioned, I don't think they've all been on the same tour at the same time.
Nope.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure they haven't. So that would be quite the feat. So how many are they cutting to next year?
This past year they cut to 65, and
Is that it?
and then no, they'll cut this year to 50. So
50.
making another big case, getting tougher and tougher because it's a stacked group of guys up there. I mean, I struggled the last 2 years trying to make. Marshall actually made the Red Crest last year, and where'd you finish in the point?
I think last year I finished 13th.
He was 13th last year and qualified for Red Crest, and I was the first guy out last year and this past year. So I've been 41st the last 2 years.
He had a couple bad breaks, man. It's gonna turn.
So I'm gonna have, maybe I can get some of their luck this year, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe this year's the year.
Hopefully it's Murray.
But yeah, we got to turn it around.
Mhm.
We both had a tough one that last one, so we're gonna have to have to reverse that.
Any fish losses that you still see them swimming away that you think cost you that, Marty?
Oh yeah, definitely. Even in the last tournament last year, we was at Saginaw Bay, and I jumped off I lost about a 3.5 the first day or the second day, and I jumped off about and two more like 2 3/4, and any one of those, I think it was like 3 fish. Any one of those 3 fish would have called me. All I needed was I think an ounce or two to jump 1 or 2 points, and all I needed was 1 point. So it was that close.
Wow.
Any one of those, I land any one of those 3 fish, and I make the Red Crest. That's how tight it is every year, most of the time. I can't remember as far back to last year, but I'm sure there was a fish last year that cost me.
That past year was within a point, wasn't it?
I can't remember, but I know this year it was really, really close.
Thanks for bringing that up, Kyle. I'm sure.
And that was the way, several classics that I missed was the same way. I remember one fish I think it was 2 classics. I might have been the first guy out there. One of them was at Lake Hartwell. I definitely remember that one.
Yeah.
I kind of been trying to get myself jacked up for the season a little bit, and I was watching a classic today, and you were boat flipping fish on, I think it was the second day. You were boat flipping them off of a dock down there at Grand in 2013.
Okay, yeah. I fished 2 classics at Grand and done fairly good. I think I made the 3rd day in both of them. Grand just always, man, I like that lake, and it just seemed like it suited my style of fishing or something. And I guess it kind of reminds me of fishing around here a little bit. It's kind of a rocky lake, and we have, a lot of rocky bottom lakes around here, and terrain of it, the steepness and stuff. It kind of reminds me of lakes around here. And it's just always, I think it was my first year on the Elite Series, maybe 2007. First time I'd ever been to Grand. I'm catching them cranking real good in June, and the first 2 days I'm second behind a crankbait fisherman. They said he was a real good crankbait fisherman. I was trying to think of what his name was, but it was initials or something. It might have been KVD or something like that. But anyhow, I was second behind him the first 2 days or 3 days, and I made the final day. And I struggled a little bit on the final day, and Kevin wound up winning that event. I think I fell to 7th, but that was one of my best tournaments that year, and it was on Grand.
Is that where the camera pans to the front deck of your boat and you're doing handstands and twirling and all that kind of stuff? Is that when that started?
Nah, that probably started at the Classic. I think the Classic was the first time I actually ever danced on the deck of my boat. And I just remember telling my wife that she said, "What are you going to do if you make the Classic?" I said, "Shoot, I make the Classic." I said, "I'll liable to dance, get up there and dance on the front of my boat." She said, "All right, I'm going to hold you to it." And I tried to back out, but she held me to it.
Was that like Keith Allen, I think? Was that the guy's name at the time that was?
Yeah, it was.
He called
no.
Was
Yeah.
it Fish or was it?
Yeah, I think it was Keith Allen. Yeah.
Marty. So who come up with Marty the party?
You know, I think it was I can't remember. It's been so long. I can't remember it.
But it wasn't one of those guys.
It could have been old Keith Allen or Mercer one. I can't remember. It's been so long, man. That's been back in the day there. I'd have to go back and watch some film or something.
Yeah. I was thinking it was Mercer, but
Yeah, you're probably right, John. I'm wanting to think it was Mercer.
that's his deal, nicknames.
Yeah, it is.
So you got him, Marshall. What's your nickname?
I ain't
You
got
got
one. I ain't got one.
Bubba.
I
You
was
might have one. You just don't know.
they called me that when I was young. I was pretty chunky when I was pretty young.
Yeah. His nickname now, Pilgrim, I guess that's his nickname. No.
Pilgrim.
I'm lacking a nickname.
We're gonna have to come up with a nickname
Yeah.
for you.
He gets him a win.
I had a buddy in school who used to call me Sheriff because my name was Marshall.
Mm-hmm.
And he called me the Sheriff, and I was like, well, I guess that one ain't too bad.
His name is Marshall Dillon now.
Yeah.
That's his name.
I saw that on your email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was named after a sheriff anyway.
Marshall Dillon. And your fiance is Kitty?
Yeah, Miss Kitty.
Miss Kitty.
I guess we'll call Mitchell Festus, I reckon.
Marshall doesn't even know what we're talking about.
I know the first two, but he lost me at that. I don't know what that is.
I'll have to show him some footage of old Festus then.
And I watched Gunsmoke today eating lunch. That's funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Imagine our producer got to be looking up a daggone picture of Festus at some point. Hint, hint.
Yeah, I'm sure he is.
Mm-mm. Oh,
So
yeah.
what's your go-to technique or bait, Marshall? What's your favorite? If you could catch fish any way you wanted.
Man. If I could catch them any way, it'd probably be a place like James River or the Potomac River, somewhere tidal like that, and they get real shallow. And I like catching them either on straight braid with a swim jig, waking it, or probably a chatterbait. I like casting and winding, burning around. So I'd probably go with that.
Nice. What about you, Marty?
Oh, dude, I love shaking the minnow.
Oh yeah.
I'm a lousy minnow shaker, but I'm trying. But I've always been a jig man. I've always liked skipping docks with a jig. We got a lot of lakes around here, a lot of dock fishing, kind of like Grand. Anytime I can get on a jig bite, I'd love to throw, skip a dock under a jig or something like that. But, them days are getting few and far between now. So, but either that or, some kind of top water, we got a lot of blueback lakes around here. So we've caught a lot of top water fish, obviously, and that's always fun, Mm-hmm.
There he is.
There he is. There's Mitchell. Yeah. I done got him a nickname now, boy. Old Festus.
Festus. That's funny.
If it wasn't your nickname, it is now.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
So you brought it up, the old minnow shaker. Are you a minnow shaker, Marshall? Can you?
Oh yeah.
You're pretty good at it.
I'm all right at it.
Yeah.
I like it pretty good. It's a fun way to catch them, but every now and then I want to do something different,
Yeah.
It's a good way to catch fish though.
Yeah.
And a lot of people was wondering how big a scoper he was, and I told a lot of people, you when you won Rookie of the Year on Tackle Warehouse, how many tournaments did you scope in that event?
Yeah, it was pretty weird. So that was only 2023. So yeah, the season before last, and scope it had come out, and it was kind of a big deal, but it was only being used in your traditional deep clear water lakes, and we didn't have a bunch of them that year on the schedule. So that year we didn't, I didn't do any scoping, and that whole season I just pretty much stuck with I had one Lake of the Ozarks, actually. I had a real good bed fishing tournament, and just caught them on a creature bait on bed, just sight fishing everything, and the rest of the year I caught them on a chatter bait pretty much, and buzz bait. I kept it. It was a power fishing year, and it was fun to be able to catch them like that over and over again. And then it switched 180 degrees next year. We went straight into the Bass Pro Tour, and that's when the minnow boomed. So it's crazy how quick it changed. But
yeah, it really did come on fast everywhere.
Yeah.
All the series, all the leagues, it just really came on fast. And then of course this year they've all changed or tweaked their rules.
Right.
And we've talked about it on here several times. I think we all agree that it's pretty cool that there's 3 different leagues that do 3 different things. And, a guy can go whichever, towards whichever league he wants to go to.
That's right.
If you don't want to scope at all, period, you got the MPFL and I personally think that the MLF did the smartest thing, and I think it has made it a lot more interesting. And Bass has tried to limit a few things, but mainly with the schedule, they've tried to limit how many scoping tournaments there's going to be. Of course, there's no way to tell that, but after this first one, I think that was fairly successful. Watching that, and I just think it's cool.
Yeah, that really that tournament kind of surprised me. We was actually coming home from Florida, and anytime any other tournament's on, if I know about it, I enjoy watching live, whether it's BASS, MLF, NPFL, whatever. I enjoy watching all the live footage, and I was watching a lot in that tournament, and with Bass having a lot of really good scoping hands over there, I'd say they one of the strongest tours as far as scoping. They got some real good young kids over there, and some of them are from kind of our area, so we know, they're really good with that. And it kind of surprised me. on the river that it seemed like a lot of guys couldn't get the scope bite going. I figured, so, a lot more of them would get the scope bite going on those bars down there. And but it's a little different. I've been in the boat, or we've both been in the boat with Terry Scroggins on that river. And, when you in the boat with somebody that knows how to do that bar fishing, dude, it's amazing how many fish live out there. And, and it just kind of surprised me. I guess those fish, maybe they wasn't set up good on the bars, but most of the guys were just fishing or sight fishing.
Yeah, John Garrett found that one bar where they were set up on.
Yeah.
And but he wasn't really making them bite with scoping.
Yeah.
He was throwing a 6XD or something like that, and a Carolina rig, and he was seeing them, but he wasn't, shaking a minnow at them or a jerk bait or anything. And then you had Shane LaHue that was catching them out of fry garters, and I think Jay Shakira was doing that too.
Yeah.
That I thought that was pretty cool. That was shallow fishing, but using the scope in a different way.
Yeah.
And then you had, people like the Johnstons that were flipping, flipping and throwing it, and Bill Lowen, throwing a swim jig and chatterbait, and a jig, so it was a cool tournament.
Yeah.
So with the rules, let's talk about the MLF. So with your rules, how do you think the first couple tournaments have gone? Are you figuring out a different kind of strategy that you have to use, or what is your strategy going to be with the one period using it and two without?
Yeah, it's been different. It's hard to go from being able to scope all day, and the biggest thing for me is I can figure them out in a tournament as I go if I can scope all day. If I can't, that tells me that I'm gonna have to find the best bait, the best area. I'm gonna have to know the details before the first day, because you only got 2.5 hours to make that happen. And after that, you're done. You got to switch it up. So I think at the first tournament, I think it was all right. I was able to use my scope period to catch. I think the first day I had 28 pounds in a period. Second day I had 22 pounds in a period. So it wasn't bad. But I think I did good enough. I got a check. But I struggled on the non-scope periods in that tournament for some reason. And I think it's because I spent too much of my practice looking for a scope bite. And so the next tournament was Harris Chain, and that one, it was so tough, and there was only two areas playing, and one was Lake Griffin, one was Lake Apopka. You had to lock out if you were going to catch them, and that was pretty much the bottom line. And I didn't go to either one of those places, so that one could have been different if I'd have just went to a different lake. I'm not sure if the format was what got me there. But then going into the next one, it being at Murray, obviously I wish I could use it all day, because I feel like that would give me a big advantage to be able to stay on them all day. But then in another way, I look at it and say, hey, well, if you got to catch as much as you can, you only get one period. I have better odds of, landing on them just by having history than these other guys do. So, there's pluses to both sides. It definitely makes fishing, tougher, and sometimes makes it a little less enjoyable. But then other times, making you turn it off, it might make it more enjoyable. So it's just dependent on the situation for me. I'm still trying to get used to it. So I'm really just focusing on getting it right at this next one, because that's going to be, you need to capitalize when they come. If they come around your home area, you need to have a good tournament.
So when you're practicing, are you trying to find a group of scope fish that you can go to, and then trying to find, something different?
Yeah.
Like some bedders or whatever.
Right.
Whatever it is.
That's pretty much how it's going, because most of those places that you're going to scope on, those fish are, not very targetable without it. So you got to find you a place you can do it, and then you got to find you a bite you can run without it. So you're really looking for two things, and we only have 2 days of practice. So you can spend one day doing one thing and the next doing another, or you can just dedicate your whole tournament, put all your eggs in one basket, and hope you get it right. And that's what I'm still trying to work on. And I guess that's part of it being entertaining. A lot of guys, moving around on the leaderboard, and but you can miss big time. You really got to play your cards right in this deal, for sure.
So are you a find the scope fish and go to them first thing guy, or are you find a scope fish, find some other fish, save the scope fish for when you need them type of guy?
So far, I've been a first period type of guy. I try to jump on them straight out of the gate, get it out of the way, try to get me a lead if I can, and then try to kind of, pace myself the rest of the day and kind of, stay on track. First one, it worked out all right for me. The second one, it wasn't good, because the second one I could scope, 3 or 4 good fish a period. And by the end of the day, if I had it all day, 12 fish would have been great, but I would scope me 4 fish, 3 fish, and have me, I'd be on pace. But then when I couldn't use it, I didn't have enough practice time put in, and I didn't have any fish located to go to, so I'd kind of fall back.
Yeah. What about you, Marty?
Yeah, kind of depending on the event. Like that first event at Conroe, I knew it would be a big time scoping deal, because it's pre-spawn. The water was cold. It was fairly clear there. The fish hadn't moved up. I did spend a good time on my practice looking for a scope bite, and I actually found a pretty good scope bite. And I caught maybe 18 or 20 pound in the first period, both days scoping. But then the fishing bite was so tough, I couldn't go catch much. I'd go catch 2 or 3 the rest of the day, and I wound up missing a check in that event. So, and then like you said, you got to figure when to look for it. Like Murray coming up, I'll look for a scope bite maybe one day of practice, and then just fish the other day of practice, because 2 days is kind of a short practice time. But and I feel like I don't have to look for a fishing bite as much on Murray, because I have a lot of experience and history there. I know areas that I can go, hopefully get a bite in, and know some of the areas to stay away from. So, I don't have to waste a lot of time like that. So I'm just kind of approaching it depending on what tournament it is.
Do you you guys can't tell who's using scope in what period, can you?
Not until after the day's over.
Yeah, we can as a fan. We can see it on there. But so you don't see it till it's the end.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you pay attention to that much during the day? Like if somebody's lighting it up first, Bobby Lane's lighting it up first period. Are you thinking he's using a scope, or is you thinking he's flipping?
Flipping.
If Bobby Lane's lighting it up, he's probably flipping.
Yeah.
Probably a bad choice. Probably a bad choice.
Yeah.
It's just like if I said Drew Gill is lighting it up first period.
Yeah.
You probably know he's scoping.
That's right. Yeah. So you can tell by that a lot of times. I mean, we've got some really good scopers on tour, and
Jacob Wheeler's lighting it up first period. What are you thinking?
You're thinking he's being Jacob Wheeler. Who knows, man? You never know. A man could be flipping, punching reeds or punching mats, or he could be a mile off the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked to me, I didn't keep track or anything, but there were some guys that never use the scope, like didn't do it
Yeah.
at all day. On
Mhm.
this last one, seemed like a good portion of them
Mhm.
did that. Do you have an idea of how many guys percentage wise are scoping first period and not, and not saving it till later?
Well, they gave us some somewhere. I seen the percentage of guys that used it. It might have been in our meeting. He might have showed it from the first tournament or something, and it broke it down. It was cool to see. But yeah, that last one, there was a lot of guys who, left it. They'd have the little blank dot beside their name,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't turn it on. But I think it was just because we were in Florida, fish were spawning, and a lot of guys were flipping reeds. So I don't think they wanted to stray from their way of catching them. I think it was more a mental thing. Just wanting to stay focused. That if it's working, don't fix it. If it ain't broke.
Well, I know one I don't think that's turned their scope on yet, and that's me and Mark Davis was sitting beside each other the morning of Conroe takeoff, and I said, Mark, you think you can turn that thing on today? He said, no, I ain't even got that thing plugged up. And he didn't use it in that one, and he probably didn't use it in Florida neither. So
Yeah, I don't.
he's leading the point. He's leading the no scoping points.
Yeah, yeah.
That's got to be a hard one to award because I think is there a fair amount of guys that would just soon it just go away versus they don't really care, or what's the mix over there?
I don't really know. I would, if I had to guess, I'd say there's probably 30% that don't like it.
That's probably about
Maybe
close.
I'm one of those who's like, it seems like you've never been able to kill technology, no matter how bad you want to. It just keeps coming, and you got to deal with it. I mean, and I always try to put myself in everybody's shoes, when I'm thinking of something. So when I hear guys talking about, these kids going out there just putting the trolling motor down and just going looking and no rhyme or reason and throwing the fish, I said, well, and never really try to pattern or nothing like that. And I said, this is coming from some of the same guys who ride all day and look at that side imaging and never make a cast. I said, how is that fishing? And I said, it's just like a trolling motor. I said, I guarantee you can grab some of these old timers and ask them what they think. And they'll say, yeah, you couldn't catch nothing without that old electric motor. I'd like to see you do it with a paddle. So you're always going to have that. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I said, so if you say something to one person or a younger person about his technology that he uses, an older man, older than you, can say, well, if you didn't have that daggone electric motor and all them fancy power poles and this, that, and other, you couldn't catch them neither. So you can't make the rules. You can't, no one person out there can say we should be able to do this, we should be able to do that. I've always said I'll do it how the majority wants to do it. If y'all want to use everything, we'll use everything. But by gosh, if y'all big crybabies want to take away this, limit that, let's take it. If you really are a true fisherman, like you're saying, you just want to have at it, put the trolling motor down and go. Let's get rid of everything. Let's get rid of that little side imaging you got, that little 360 you got. If you want to really fish, I said, let's just do mapping and even in 2D, just so you don't knock your lower unit off. But there you go, right there, mapping. I could say legitimately, Davis Fritz could say, no, let's get rid of that junk too, because before y'all had it, couldn't none of y'all catch none of them offshore fish. So you got to watch what you say about anything. You know what I mean? And that's the way I try to be.
Very good perspective. And to kind of tag along with that a little bit, we just had a little boat show up here in January, and we were fortunate enough we got Rick Clunn as a guest speaker. And you know, he was Rick kind of before his seminar. You know, he kind of lingered around and some of the guys, and we were asking him. I've got a little small collection of Pose crankbaits, and he won the classic one year on a Pose. And there was a guy that asked him, "How in the world did you even cast that crankbait with the junk that you were using?" Essentially,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of the same way. It's
Yeah.
to your point. So very interesting perspective.
Yeah. You fish the time. You know, you either adjust to the times, or you say, "All right, I've had my time. I'll step aside." You know, if it's changing to this, and I don't like this, well, you know, you don't have to play that game. You know, if you want to play that game and learn the new technology, I mean, and another thing I don't understand, how are you going to go to these electronics companies and say, all right, guys, tell all your engineers and you know, to stop. You know, they've gone as far as they need to go. Y'all need to fire all your engineers.
Yeah, and
True.
hire
We don't need to improve anything. And you know, it just can't be done. You know, people's going to always strive to get better, make sports better, make them more competitive, make them harder. I mean, it just keeps going. I mean, you know, I'm sure you just look at it. Anything, any sport out there, it's evolved over the years, and you got to evolve with it, or you know, I know it's ruined some guys' careers, and that's sad, but I'm sure, you know, when the first green box came out, Lowrance box came out, it ruined a few of the old timers' careers, and I know the mapping ruined David Fritz's career. I mean, Fritz can still catch them. He just don't dominate like he did before that map came out.
What did you do, Marty, when you first saw Lowrance or whoever? I say Lowrance because I use them, but when you first saw side imaging and you first got that transducer installed on your boat, what did you do? Was there a time when you were idling Hartwell and you go, you know, I've been fishing this point for a long time and I've thrown a heavy jig on it and I know pretty much what's down there, but you seen something, or what? Did you just throw the transducer on the transom and just idle for 6 weeks straight? Or, you know,
man, you got to be born a certain person to be an idler. I figured out over my careers of fishing, you got guys who love to fish, and they're going to fish. They're not going to idle no matter what. Luckily, there you go. John's one of them, and I'm one of them too. You know, I enjoy the sport and getting that bite so much that I think I would lose a lot of my joy if I went out there and idled all day. And the lucky thing to that is I grew up in the area I grew up in, which is we're pretty much surrounded by blueback lakes, and that side imaging don't help you a lot on these blueback lakes. It's more of a Tennessee River deal. These guys that grew up on the Tennessee River really benefit more than anybody on that side imaging. I think you have to spend so many hours behind a side imaging screen looking at it to really detect or pick out fish on certain areas. Now, sometimes you can ride through there and the blind man can see them. But a lot of these Tennessee River boys can look at side imaging. I've had them, several of them show me, say, dude, Marty, look at this school of fish I found today. Look here. There they are. And I'm like, where? You know?
right.
And I mean, it's you know, you have to train your eyes to look for that. Now, side imaging, I mean, forward facing is quite different. You know, a kid can look at that and see fish swimming around. And so to me personally, I enjoy, you know, I have forward facing shooting out. I have that for my side imaging, and I use that to scan with. And not only can I see the bottom, I can see fish and I can see bait. So I can learn more and detect more with that than actual side imaging. The main thing I use side imaging for is when it come out, I thought it was great to see rock. rock piles, rocky
Yeah.
bottom. That's what I used it for, and brush piles, obviously. But yeah, it was we lived on blueback lakes, and most of the time they was knee deep, so you couldn't idle over those fish, and you may could side imaging some of them, but most time if they was up there and they was doing their deal and they was up there where they supposed to be, they was about knee deep, and all you had to do is throw a top water. I could throw a top water 3 times on the point, fish it, and tell you if there's fish there before somebody could idle a point. So it just wasn't as efficient as it was idling those ledges on Tennessee River.
Marshall, what about you when you first put side imaging or you saw it, forward facing? I'm going to ask you forward facing. When you first got that transducer on, or your dad first got it, I don't know who did. Did you say, I have to spend X amount of time with it to get better? Or did you seek others to help you get better with it, or what did you do?
No, man, we slapped it on there, and we probably fished for a good, I want to say close to a year before we really even looked at it hard, because it was the knowledge and what's been beating my head over the years, all the stuff I'd watched on YouTube, all the articles I've read, they all tell you, hey man, say it was, I don't know, say it was Toledo Bend. Say it was Toledo Bend, and they're gonna beat it into your head. You can't just get in the middle of the lake and just go around catching 30 pounds. So when you see something on a lake, you see some fish floating out there swimming around, you make one lousy cast out there, you don't even hit them, but if they don't come swallow your bait, you're gonna burn that in and say, yeah, man, they don't do that here. So let's go back to the bank. Let's go skip docks with a jig. Like that's kind of how we was for the first close to a year. And then one day it was like, I don't know, I think it was at Lake Kiowee, and it was cold, and one day we got to fooling around with a Demiki rig, which was just the armor shad on the Demiki head, like the boys called them at Cherokee Lake when the Elite Series was there.
Yeah.
And we had been catching them on that. Well, then one day we used it on the live scope, and after I watched a couple of them eat it, I was like, God, you can just run around, put this thing down, and then troll around till you see a fish and throw this thing at it. And it was like, it's instant. Like the fish, the visibility is probably like 15 foot. When that bait would hit the surface, that fish would come running 100 miles an hour to find that bait. And as soon as he seen it, he'd choke it every time. You could throw it 150 fish and catch 150 fish. So it was really crazy. And obviously it's not like that now. The bite percentages went down a good bit, but once we figured out that you could do that, I was able to catch them pretty good. And that's actually kind of how I got my career started, because the first big breakthrough tournament I had was Lake Gunnersville, the Toyota Series Championship of 2022. And it was in November. And I'd convinced myself that I was going to go there and I was going to use my live scope and I was going to catch suspenders out in the middle of the lake. And I told my buddies that, and they told me I was stupid. It's like, they don't do that on Gunnersville. This ain't Lake Hartwell. And I ended up going there and being stubborn and doing it. And I finished second in that tournament, and made me $50,000. And that's kind of how I started paying my entry fees. And I was able to make enough in that tournament to just kind of keep making money and keep adding to it. And, whatever I spend, I'd make back most of it. And I didn't ever really go in debt. So I kind of lucked out.
It's interesting to hear what it's done, the technology has done for guys, because it's like me when I finally got money and saved up and put side imaging on my boat. I'd been fishing a bridge on my little 1,500 acre lake next to the house. I'd been fishing this bridge with my grandpa since I was a baby, and I thought he was lying to me when he'd say, you're catching them on the bridge. You're not catching them in the creek channel that's another 20 feet deeper. This bridge is side imaging, idled right over the top of it. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, and then forward facing sonar comes around and I roll over there and throw that sucker in the water, and I'm catching crappie on the sides of it before they swim underneath it.
Right.
In the dead of winter. It's a pretty cool tool.
It is.
It is. It's a fun tool or piece of equipment, and I'm like John. I'm with him on that. I think it's pretty cool. We got 3 different trails now, 3 different type deals, and dude, MPFL. This is their shot to come alive this year. They got enough big names over there. It's no scope, so that draws a whole different crowd and a bunch of different viewers. So I think if they promote that tour and push it this year, they could really go somewhere. And we've had a lot of feedback, positive feedback too on MLF, the new format we have, where guys enjoy watching the 1 scope period and then 2 regular periods of just fishing, and then you got the younger generation that obviously what I call them, my youngest boy too, super scoper, but which he does know how to fish. That's a good thing about it. I did train him. He learned how to regular fish or fish normal all the way up into his high school years, but he caught on the forward facing really good, because the younger they are, the better they are at it. And because the more, I always tell every fisherman I talk to, the more successful of a career you've had as a tournament fisherman, the harder it is for you to change. So obviously KVD is never going to be a scoper because of the success that he's had. There's no way he could turn his back or just change his whole style of fishing. There's no way I could. If I'd had the success he's had over the years, but you got a lot of the younger generation that really enjoy that. I enjoy it too. I enjoy doing it. I hope to get a lot better at it. And but you got a lot of younger guys that enjoy it, and I think that's getting a lot of younger fishermen into it. And Bass has got a lot of those younger fishermen over there. That's good for them too.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just getting started in the fishing in the tournament season. You guys have had a couple, and we've had 1 elite, and the MPFL's coming up. But it just seems to me like last year was just like a perfect storm of lakes and times of the year. It seemed like everything was being won or caught on with the scope, and it just everybody was up in arms. And so we've had 3 or 4 high level tournaments, and it's not happened this year yet. It's been more diverse. It's been more spread out. I mentioned to the guys in the chat when we were watching the elite the other day that the top, at the time when I texted them, the top 25 or whatever, there's only 2 rookies in the top 25. It was which was complete change from last year.
Yeah.
Complete. Like last year on the Elite Series, the first couple tournaments, there was 8 out of 10 rookies in the top 10, and they were just dominating. And this year it hasn't been that way. That could be just, luck or whatever. But I just think maybe these adjustments that the leagues have made are all good, and we're just going to have to see. The next 8 elite tournaments probably be won on a scoper. And now that I've said that, but it hasn't happened so far, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And it's good, because I think as fans, the 3 of us as fans, we're just so sick of the arguing, the arguing back and forth. We just want to get back to watching our heroes and our people that we look up to fish and have a good time and act like they're enjoying it because they're fishing at the top level that we'd all love to be doing. And it seemed like last year was just nothing but, message boards and all that. And we were just, I think the normal fan was just tired of that. And so far this year has been totally different. So we hope it goes that way for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I'm with you. Like I said, I enjoy watching live, no matter which trail it is, and enjoy watching people fish, catch them, scoping, catch them fishing, skipping docks with a jig, swimming a jig like Billy Lowen did, and that was great to see him win. Billy's a great guy, and but yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy all sides of it. And I think that's if you don't, you might ought to look at maybe doing something, getting into something else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Danny,
I'm going to switch things up.
I knew you were getting ready to. I could see it in your eye.
Well, we didn't get off in the weeds too far, but we still hung out in the weeds and talked about forward facing for, I don't know, seemed like 6 days. As a super scoper there, Marshall, what's the craziest thing you have seen on screen? Something that you couldn't identify, something you could identify, something completely weird, nutso, something on screen.
Man, I don't guess I've seen nothing too weird, but a couple things I've seen. I've seen bass run with trash fish, and like I'm talking about, you'll see a group of 100 gar in a wad, and they all are these big splotches, and you can tell they're trash fish. And then trailing behind them about 5 feet, back from the school, you see this smaller dot. He's moving different. It's giving off a different signature. I mean, it just looks different. And you throw to it, and shoot, he eats your bait, and it's a 5-pounder, a bass. And I don't know if they're just scavenging and eating junk that the gar are putting off. I don't know, but I've seen them do that. I've seen a loon bite my bait on the screen, and that thing, I mean, it looked like a 50-pound bass. I didn't know what it was. Yeah, and they're deep. They go deep. And they're really fast. And then probably another thing is seeing a bass spawn and guard fry 25 foot deep on bottom. I've seen both of those. So that was pretty neat to see, because you wouldn't think they'd spawn or guard their fry 25 feet deep. So,
oh yeah.
Anything
Crazy, Marty?
Man, the best thing I seen, I really thought I found something. All of a sudden there's this image that comes up on my screen, and I'm trying to make it out, and I go, dude, that's a naked woman. And I'm looking at it, and it's swimming, and I scan over there, and my wife had jumped in the water. And but no, that's pretty good though. Yeah,
I like it.
I have watched her swim a little bit, over there, but I've seen a manatee under the water, which like you see them on top of the water a lot. Seen a gator under the water. That's pretty neat. But yeah, you see a lot of stuff. Kind of see how it moves under the water. That's a neat thing. But
cool.
Now I ain't found no dead body yet. So
yeah, that'd be terrifying.
Dude,
That's my worst fear.
No joke. We went 3 weeks. Was it 3 weeks in a row?
Yeah.
That's what the answer was?
Really?
Yeah, that was back in November, December.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And then we went really way far south when we interviewed Polinick, and he said UFO on one of the Great Lakes way up north, and we're sitting there just in awe.
I've heard that story before. I think I was fishing at a event or something. I think it was on Huron, maybe. And yeah, he claims he's got to be UFO out there somewhere, loaded with big smallmouth.
Like it's just I think it's just a plug of the lake, you know.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I mean, if you get a chance to go back and listen to the story, it's a pretty freaky story.
Yeah.
Like,
I seen the image. He showed me the image of it, and dude, it looks pretty legit.
it's 200 feet across, Marshall.
Yeah,
200 feet across, cylindrical
yeah.
thing. It's got hallways in it. Like you can he put a camera, aqua view down in the middle and turned it, and you could see these hallways like a wagon wheel, but hallways that you could go down with like windows on the side. And then, but the thing that freaked us all out the most, I think, is he got in the middle.
Yeah.
And there's a hole straight down, like a wagon wheel hole, axle hole, and he dropped a drop shot down it, and it unspooled his. And we're in 40 feet of water or something like that, 40 or 50 feet of water.
Yeah, he said it was 40 feet.
Dropped
like
a drop
42.
shot down and unspooled his entire line. It never hit the bottom. Like
Yeah,
like 150 yards, 200 yards.
yeah. I'd have to pay me some scuba divers to get out there and go down and check that place out.
Yeah.
You might be on something there.
And he said the first time he went there, he caught like 22 pounds of smallmouth.
Yeah.
And he's been back like 6 times and never seen or caught a smallmouth off of it. It's like the aliens, once they figured out if we don't keep these smallmouth away from here, he's going to keep coming back.
Yeah.
So they keep them away.
Figure us out. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's freaky.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Marshall, you talked about looking at smallmouth on forward facing or looking at a fish on forward facing, and you like casting in the vicinity, and the fish just, you know, streaks, like beelines it for it and bites it, and it's a done deal. You're the second guy I've heard say that. I talked with Cody Huff a couple years ago, and he was saying the same thing. It was just crazy how similar he talked about fishing up north, and he also talked about bull shoals where he kind of lives too. The fish doing the same thing. So
Right. They've gotten smarter, but it makes sense why we used to catch them every now and then if you took like a Kitech swim bait and just went hucking it around, because if you got it within 20, 30 feet of that fish, you're catching it. Right. Well, nowadays, if you turn it off, you can go through that swim bait for the rest of your life, and you could, when you finally get lucky and hit a fish, he ain't gonna bite it. So, you got to throw it 100 of them to catch them, to catch one.
Well, what I was going to say about it was, my luck, I've got a fish coming towards it, and I'm doing.
I'm burning it.
I'm going, wait a minute, whoa! I got to cast back over there. Oh, that fish ain't acting right. I'm so daggum stupid that I don't even think it's a bass. I'm worried about it being a gar or something. I don't know. So.
One of those mysterious Grand Lake alligators.
There's some. There is some.
Yeah.
Big ones.
Big one. I ain't found them yet. I'm still looking. That's like that Bigfoot under Danny's porch.
Let's not wake him up.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Bigfoot living near the mountains?
Oh yeah, I hear him out there every night. I got Bigfoot right here. He's about to start size 13.
Yeah.
His foot bigger than mine. He got taller than me and got a foot bigger than mine.
Ask your other question, Danny.
So earlier we said that you guys travel together, stay together, the Airbnbs and all that. When you're going down the highway, and it could either be a specific lake that you're going to, and there's maybe a favorite restaurant or a favorite place you go to, or if you're traveling down the highway somewhere you have to stop if you're passing by. Where's that?
I know what it is 100%. A lot of people are going to knock it, say it's nasty. But if we drive past a Fazoli's fast food Italian restaurant, there ain't many of them. But if we drive past one of those, we're going to stop.
Okay, good.
That's what I'd say.
Yeah.
Is that what you'd say?
Yeah.
That's the first one of those we've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They took a lot of them. A lot of them went out of business, but it's good. A lot of people don't like it, but it's good.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever eaten at Fazoli's.
It's just like you go in there and they got Italian food, but it's like fast food, pretty much instant.
You get like a bucket of spaghetti.
Yeah, you can get like a little plate of spaghetti, meatballs, chicken parmesan, whatever, Alfredo. Get you a salad, and it's just like walking in a Burger King or something. They'll have it ready for you in like 5 minutes.
Yummy.
It's
Sounds
good.
delicious.
It's good.
Oh yeah.
Now, see, we were all thinking, pretty sure that you were going to say Buc-ee's.
But
Nah, dude, that's his place. I hate that place.
I'll swing into Buc-ee's every now and then and get me a pulled pork sandwich. I got some pretty good pulled pork.
A lot of people say Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people say Buc-ee's.
Yeah, I figured that. He ain't much on it, but
Nah, it's too crowded for me, man.
You guys got any good barbecue restaurants out there in South Carolina?
We ate at a good one today.
yeah.
Was it Charlie's?
Charlie's Barbecue. Yeah,
That
we
was
got
good.
we got a couple good barbecue places out here. I'm not too much of a huge barbecue fan because I think what it is, I've ate it so many years when I fished bass and MLF on all the catering events. I mean, that's a popular dish on the catering deal.
Yeah.
So I get my share of barbecue at a fishing event, fishing tournament. So I'm more of an Italian guy too. I like Italian, and we'll eat sushi every now and then.
Oh, yeah, sushi's good.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Is the have you been to Rayburn lately? Is the Stump still in existence?
Yep. Yeah.
The Stump is one of those places. I don't know if you two have been to the Stump.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
For sure.
The Stump is if you're at Rayburn, you got to go to the Stump.
Yeah. You got to eat at the Stump. We actually ate at the Stump last year when we went to Toledo Bend. We started the year off at Toledo Bend, and I stopped. I got a good friend that lives close to Rayburn. We stopped and stayed with him. He actually lives right across the street from the Stump, and we ate over there probably two or three times that
A couple
week.
times, yeah. It's good. I'd never been.
That was his first time, John. So he got to see a lot of history.
Man.
A lot of history in that place, man.
Yeah, there is
Yeah.
a lot of things that can't be said in public.
No, yeah. The last time I'd been to the Stump was probably in 2005 when I was fishing the Bass Opens to make the elites. We had I don't know if you remember, we had a tournament on Sam Rayburn. That's when we had 5 events and you qualified, and old boy named Eric Nethery won that tournament. It was about spawning season, April maybe, and that's the first time I'd ever been in the Stump. I think we eat there and sung a little karaoke there that night, and had a good time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we are extremely happy you joined us, and we'll be following you and Mitchell.
Yeah.
We'll have to get all three of you on at some point.
Yeah.
Festus.
Yeah. Festus.
But we enjoyed having you, and we'll be watching you this year and rooting you on. We ask all of our guests to make a commitment to come on the show, our show, first after you win a tournament this year.
All right.
Well, I'll tell you this right now. If I go to Murray in a couple weeks and I win that tournament, I promise you I'll come on the show.
There you go.
We won't even call you Festus.
Hey, I'll be there.
The other
We'll have Marshall Dillon, and we'll get Festus in here.
Okay.
I want to see that. I want to see that shop full of Phoenix boats, and I want to see the tackle cave.
Yeah.
We got some time.
We got 6 of them in there right now. If you want to
I
find
want
one,
to see something besides a daggum white background. I want to look at fishing tackle or something.
Yeah.
yeah,
We got the computer plugged up right now. We can't.
we'll have to do the next one in the shop.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
Sounds good.
How do people follow you guys if they want to follow along?
We got Instagram and Facebook. Marty Robinson and
I'm Marshall Robinson Fishing.
Marshall
Instagram
Robinson
and
Fishing,
Facebook.
Marty Robinson Fishing, and
It ain't too hard to find.
yeah, Instagram, Facebook, pretty much. Yeah, hit us up.
Mitchell too.
Yeah,
Mitchell too. Mitchell, I think Mitchell's just Mitchell Robinson or Mitch Robinson,
Mitch Robinson.
something like that.
Mitch Robinson.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We appreciate you being on, and
Yep.
we're going to hold you to it.
All right,
hold you
man.
to it.
Enjoyed it. Enjoyed talking to you, boys.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you very
fellas.
much.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Yeah.
All right. See you.
Cool dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Play along with the weirdness. I always appreciate when they play along with my weirdness.
I knew Marty would.
Probably the greatest break dancer that's ever weighed in at the Classic.
Him and Ike, that'd be a toss up.
Yeah. Ike
It's
in his
good.
early days. Ike in his
Yeah.
early days.
Okay. Greatest break dancer I've personally witnessed at the Classic.
Okay, there you go.
That's fair.
There you go.
Were you there, Danny?
In 13, yeah, 13, 16, and last year.
Cool. Very cool. What was your favorite one?
Parts of each. Yeah, I would say parts of each.
Excuse me.
By the time you've been to 3, then the I don't know what to say, the magic, but the I don't know, acting like a bug-eyed tourist, kind of goes away. I mean, the first time you go, you walk in and you're just, wow.
Yeah.
And you, Kyle?
I like watching them on the water more than I like watching them in the weigh in. And I think my favorite classic that I watched on the water was it ended up being the one that Edwin won. But we didn't even know Edwin was up there. I was up there watching Randy Howe and Brandon Lester actually in the Elk River. And then the final day, was watching Brandon Lester fish a stretch of bluff up the Elk quite a ways. And man, there was just a plethora of boats just zooming past us. I thought, where in the hell are they going, And we kind of sneak around the corner, and I couldn't even imagine to join that flotilla of boats. You know, it was just come to find out it was Edwin, and he had 30 pounds in his boat, and I was just like, wow. I mean, I was in shock. But my favorite Bassmaster Classic was probably that one, and I watched them on the lake. I mean, watching KVD in Honey Creek throw a jerk bait, and it's cold, and just watching Kevin cast as far as he can cast, and I mean, his boat was setting on one side of the point, and he is literally heaving a jerk bait, and it's going all the way across the point, all the way to the other side, and he is working his rod like this, and it's 22 degrees that morning, and he's catching fish. And, you know, Hank Cherry across the way, and just the whole storyline, you know, Cliff Pace was catching him. I watched Iaconelli have a nutty on the dog. It was right. We were 50 feet away when he was cussing the yellow lab. I mean, I like watching the Classic from the water.
Never done that.
It's very cool. I think you would actually maybe enjoy that more, sounds like.
I don't know about that. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I love going to the Classic. It's just after you've been 3 times to the same place, it's, you know, it's not all brand new and, you know, magical and all that.
Right.
Especially when you are somewhat involved, you know, even at the state level, and seeing some of the same people that you see at different events behind the scenes, and you kind of learn how things, you know, how things happen, how things are scheduled, how they're maneuvered. So it's cool.
I was shocked. Last year. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've watched Bill dance since I was in diapers, and I was shocked when I finally saw him and Hank and Roland and Johnny Morris, and all of them was up on stage, and then getting to just shake his hand and say hi to him was incredible last year. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to talk about fantasy fishing.
I don't really want to, because my guy just quit the Elite Series.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's my luck. I mean, I'm completely screwed now for the rest of the season. You guys realize that, right? Because I chose him in the first tournament on my fantasy fishing. He does decent. He gets DQ'd. My fantasy fishing points are screwed for the rest of the year. So I'm out.
Boo.
I'm out. I'm just that is terrible luck if your guy drops out of the entire Elite Series because of a DQ.
Yeah. I feel like we should get a do-over.
No do-overs.
I mean, no surprises. John, you finished the top of a group. Congratulations.
I mean, the standings, I mean, I don't know why you're saying you're out of it. I mean, you're in second place. I mean, I guess you're not in second. You're in 10th. But I mean, you're not that far behind. You're not that far behind.
You could make it up with some good picks.
Yeah.
Everybody's don't leave the tournament.
Everybody's close.
Oh goodness. I don't know what to say about that. You know, part of me is wondering if some of this is just clickbait. I don't know. You know what this reminds me of? And I'm going out. I'm on a little bit of a tangent here. This reminds me of NASCAR about 20 years ago, where every race we were going to the trailer and the rules changed at the trailer, and every race the rules changed, and that's kind of what it reminds me. I mean, I know there's extenuating circumstances to everything, but geez, I was hoping for a drama-free season. I thought we would just go fishing, but guess not.
There was a whole bunch of them sitting in the penalty box. Were they burning the no-wake zones, John?
Yeah, they just like shut down too late or took off too early or something.
Gotcha.
In that one idle zone area. But I mean,
I'm ready to roll fantasy fishing if you guys want to burn through it.
Sure.
We going youngest.
Come to
oldest
think of
fish?
it, I may have to pick another dude.
I haven't picked any of them yet, so I'm going to roll with it because I was so disappointed today so I'm just going to shoot from the freaking hip. So,
well, you got to go first then.
okay.
Well, let me get there.
I mean, Okeechobee.
Let me see. I got to get back to mine.
Okeechobee's a
19.
flipper's paradise. Okeechobee's a flipper's paradise, and I'm not going to go off of history right now. I'm going to go off of momentum. I'll go off of momentum, and I'm picking Billy Lowen again.
Okay.
1.3% owned, and dude, he knows how to sight fish. He knows how to fish in Florida. He just freaking proved it.
Yeah.
So at 1.3%, I'm fixing to make up some points.
It's just hard to be, if you are following history, it is pretty rare for a guy to double back to back, let alone most of the time they don't even do well. This is why I didn't pick him. Just because, but this could be the year when that happens.
Who's next? Me?
Sure.
All right. I'm going with John Cox.
Yes.
I mean, it's hard not to. Florida, flipping, shallow water guy.
Yeah. Ditto.
Yep.
Okay. I went with Patrick Walters.
That was my next one I was going to choose if I didn't go with John.
Group B, do I have to start it off or can we go in reverse order?
Have you picked already?
No.
He's shooting from the hip. We're doing reverse order then, so John, you go again.
I can go. My Group B pick is Tucker Smith.
Cool.
Tucker Smith. That just seems to do well on Okeechobee in the Open, at college. Just does well down there.
No.
Well, there's Adeline. Group B, I took Mark Menendez. For no other reason than I like Mark and he was a fun guest.
I also took Tucker Smith.
Oh,
I was able to find the thing on where you can click on their name and then go look at their tournament history on there. So I did a little more of that this week.
You guys realize since I'm pretty much blew up the first one that now I can get really crazy and far out there. So I'm gonna stick with another veteran. And one of the reasons why I really like this dude is that he is a antique tackle collector. He's got a really big tackle collection. Bernie Schultz.
cool.
I had him picked for a long time before I switched to Tucker. Yeah, that was a good pick.
And Group C, Danny, start us off.
Group D, I went with Scott Martin.
I mean, I feel like that's everybody's gonna pick that. He's gonna do well.
I can tell you what,
That's the home league right there.
there's a couple guarantees in this life. Taxes, and Scott Martin's going to catch a bass at Okeechobee.
I like it. Yeah.
Yes, I picked Scott Martin as well.
I did not. I'm picking one of the lowest owned guys in the bucket. So in Group C, I'm picking a guy that completely has laser eyes when it comes to bedding bass, and I'm going with the big Jacob Poroznik
Ooh,
because he can sight fish with the best of them.
That's a pretty good pick, I think.
Mm-hmm. Who's up?
I'll go. So for Group D, I am taking Brandon Cobb.
Cool. Is that me then? Matt Airy. For no other reason than I haven't chosen him.
I can tell you why that's a good pick, is because him and Scott ran together for quite a while.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, not a bad pick.
Go ahead, John.
I picked Tyler Rivette.
Highest owned dude in the bucket. Caught him on a jerkbait there last time, right?
Yeah. And he also did well in the open there, too.
Scott Canterbury. And he's actually, if fantasy fishing ruffles anybody's feathers a little bit, maybe this will get his momentum going because he's got 9%. He's also another one that I think hangs around Scott Martin too.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows his way around Okeechobee. He'll be fine.
Yeah, he's had some good tournaments there in the past too, right?
Yeah. Group E. This is an easy one.
Yeah, I feel like I know where you're already going with this.
This is an easy one, guys. This is maybe the easiest bucket there is. I got to go with Hack Attack.
Yep.
Because that's another one that is going to be in the top 25. If he's not, but he's got to be mad after that first event. He's got to be mad.
Yeah, that's who I took also.
Same.
I did not.
Oh.
I chose Stephen Kennedy.
Oh, there you go.
Also a good pick.
I really do like that guy a ton.
I looked at Hack a lot. But he really doesn't do well at Okeechobee.
He's going to this time.
He might. That's why I didn't pick him. But I went back and he just doesn't seem to do well.
Night, buddy.
Watch Buddy Gross catch him.
Yeah.
Or somebody like Koyo Vachita from
Mhm.
Mitsuru, Japan.
Yeah.
Winning weight. 89.10. I think it's going to be a little bit higher than the St. John's.
You can't take my weight.
Really? Wow.
No, I went 88.10.
Ooh, nice.
I went 96.7.
Oh, my.
I went 91.2.
It's funny how everybody's weights just kind of inched up just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I've never understood, and I don't know that I will until I have 3 hours to talk to somebody that's lived in Florida their whole life, is like the guys at the St. Johns River, for example, were catching them in all three stages, it seemed like. And you had some guys throwing jerk baits for fry garters on docks. You had some guys catching them on beds, and some guys were saying they're not there yet. You know, is it because the river's just that big, or is it because the weather got cold, or is it because they spawn 15 times a year in Florida and nobody really knows what the hell they're doing?
I think the cold weather had the most to do with it. Because Florida fish really are affected more than we're used to. Fish being affected from cold weather.
With that said, though, I think it's going to be a cool tournament. Watch some guys go, drag them big suckers out of them pads, and
Yeah.
Greg Hackney catch them on 65-pound braid and an 8-foot broom handled with the frog on the end.
Making threats to Godzilla again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who's doing? Anybody doing Drain the Lake?
Yeah.
I did not last week, so I don't think I'm gonna end up doing it. Probably.
I mean, Drain the Lake is one where you don't necessarily have to do well. Like I didn't do well at all, but you could turn right around and do super well in the next one and change it completely around. So on the fantasy, I was like in the 96th percentile, but in the Drain the Lake, I'm at the 47th percentile. I had a terrible tournament, but the interesting thing about Drain the Lake is if you happen to pick the winner, you get double points or something like that. So it's like bonus. So you want to try to pick the winner of each tournament, and then you want to try to pick guys that are going to do well, average, but you also want to save guys for tournaments down the road. Like you don't want to use it. You don't want to use a super good smallmouth guy at the Okeechobee tournament. You want to save him for St. Clair or wherever they're going. So my first week was terrible. My second, and you pick 8 anglers. My second group, I'll just read them. Go through them. Scott Martin, he's my pick to win it if he wins. I got Bo Browning, Gerald Swindle, I got Dakota Abear, I got Logan Latuso, Brandon Lester, uh, Cliff Pace, and Cliff Perch. Was my 8 guys.
Well, I have 7 now. This morning when I did it, I had 8. Now I have 7. Drew Benton, David Gaston. What's funny is that Heron's still up there.
Mm-hmm.
He's still on the deal. I went ahead and used Chris Johnston on this one. Steve Kennedy, John Garrett, Wes Gore, Ray Hanselman.
I think that's pretty good, actually.
I don't know who I'm going to replace Matt with unless I use like I don't know. Maybe Hamner. Maybe I'll replace him with Hamner. I don't know. We'll see.
And if is anybody doing the pick'ems, the pick'ems is easy and just kind of for fun.
I think it's really cool. I did the pick'ems, and
All right.
I like how they matched them up. You got the Battle of the Brandons, so Brandon Cobb, Canadian Clash, Jeff Gustafson, Bama Bash, Gerald Swindle, War of the Titans, Scott Martin, Swimboat, Showdown, Steve Kennedy, Scopin versus Hopin, Tucker Smith, and Fan Vote, Seth Fighter.
Who'd you pick? Who'd you pick? You just told us the last 2. First few, you read both names.
No,
Yeah, you did. You said Battle of the Brandons, Brandon Cobb and Brandon Palaniuk.
I picked Cobb.
Okay.
I picked Gustafson.
Okay.
I picked Swindle. I picked Martin, Kennedy, Tucker Smith, and Seth Fighter.
We are the same on all of them except the first 2. I picked Brandon Palaniuk and Cooper Gallant. Wendell, Scott Martin, Stephen Kennedy, and Tucker Smith.
I picked Gustafson because I know who he roommates with, and I know that his roommate is a really good flipping machine. So I don't know much
Yeah.
about Cooper Gallant. And I just can't wait to go to Grand Lake and throw this. This is going to be a blast.
It should be fun.
On another note, did you guys see that video that Robertson and Fighter made for their TikTok debut?
Oh my.
That is 2 peas in a pod there.
There's been
I didn't see it.
I feel like it would fit in, or maybe we, the Dad Bod crew, would fit in them.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys seen my creation?
Was that Shane?
That a striper rig there? That's what that is.
I'm gonna throw the Brandon Ackerson rig. That's what I call this.
Shout out Brandon.
Because I'm probably gonna see him. Uh-oh. Here we go. He's chiming in now.
He's probably lighting the keyboard on fire right now at you.
Yeah. And the Brandon Ackerson rig. That's 3A rigs in one. You're going to really be able to see them on forward facing.
Should be able to, I would think. All
Who
right,
we have?
fellas.
Who do we have next week?
Oh, who do we have next week? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a big one. This is a big one, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, live on the Idle Zone Syndicate, Mr. Bobby Lane.
Cool.
Hot off the win.
Fresh off the win. Yep.
Hasn't been on any podcast yet.
Yeah, I believe he has.
Oh, was he on?
Our nemesis.
Did Matt catch us to it?
Oh, yeah.
Boy, he's a charm, ain't he?
Yeah.
Well, if it's going
He
to be
just-
anyone, it deserves to be Matt.
I mean, he just pesters them until they say yes.
Okay, I think it's 4.
I mean, we try to give him a little space and enjoy the win. He starts calling them as soon as the lines out comes across, and he starts calling them.
Yeah, they can't be forgetting no information. He's getting it right when it's fresh.
Yep. So anyway,
That
should be
well,
a good one.
that should be. It's also Mardi Gras night.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody smell what DB's cooking?
I bet there'd be some smoked bologna on Fat Tuesday, huh?
No.
Oh, no.
No. I got some crawdads in the freezer. I got some alligator in the freezer. I got some swim baits in the freezer. Oh.
Finally,
Quick
that time,
shout
guys.
out to our guys that are fishing the open at Kentucky Lake. Does that start when? When does that start?
the open. I think it's next week.
Be safe out there, for what I can tell.
Yeah.
Brandon. Be safe out there, man.
Yeah. All right, fellas.
Folks, thanks for watching. We always appreciate you. And we certainly appreciate you tolerating my randomness and my weirdness and my love of strange and unusual things. Like Kyle Kister. Get better, John.
I appreciate you listening to my scratchy throat. I think it actually helped me talking this tonight. I think it's better than it was when we started.
Well, you sound kind of like a capo or something there, buddy.
I just need to go fishing.
Just need to go fishing, don't we all?
Mhm.
Thanks for watching, guys. Be safe this weekend.
Oh.